Welcome back to the all new, all different number one comics podcast bonus episode. We are doing Canary number one. It is, I don't know, this is a Comixology original, but it has just been collected and put out by Dark Horse Comics. Anyways, we've got Benny here, we've got Nick here. How the hell are both of you guys?
Great. How are you today?
Yeah, doing wonderful. It's post Halloween, so I don't know. I don't know what to do now. Like I'm not that stoked about Thanksgiving. I don't know. I mean, it's cool or whatever, but Halloween's like one of those cool ones where you get like the whole month to kind of be like, Halloween themed. And Thanksgiving's like, oh, okay, like I'll eat dinner with my family at the end of the month, whatever. But
yeah, I'm doing well. Halloween just passed, and we just got done carving pumpkins. They're all rotting outside now, and I gotta go throw those things away. But I made some good pumpkin seeds. So you guys ever had pumpkin seeds before?
I did that this year as well.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
It's one of my favorite Halloween snacks.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I think pumpkin seeds, as you get older, you appreciate them a little bit more, especially when you get that recipe down. My pumpkin seeds are pretty good this year.
Yeah, this was my first time. So let me ask you this then, Nick. Whenever you do your pumpkin seeds, do you deshell them first, or are you eating the shells?
Oh, I'm eating the shells. Yeah.
Okay, me too. But I was like, I had to Google it. I was like, I think it's okay, but I wanted to make sure. But yeah, I got like a nice like paprika, black pepper, like seasoning going on and everything. They were good.
Yeah, the secret for mine, you got to boil them before you put them in the oven.
Oh, okay.
And then season them with some Lowry's seasoning. You ever had Lowry's?
Ooh,
no. I don't know if I've had that.
Get some Lowry seasoning on those things.
Okay,
yep.
Lowry's.
That's the secret. Yep.
This year I went with Alfredo spices, which turned out pretty fun.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Wow.
I don't think I know what Alfredo spices are.
Me either.
It's basically just dried up Alfredo sauce.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
that sounds delicious.
A little bit of creaminess to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very
cool. We got to start our own rare flavors comic book and just make three different types of pumpkins.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm definitely down with that. I mean, I guess if we kill and eat people, that would suck. But other than that, the pumpkins, you can kill and eat those. Either way, like I said, happy you guys are both doing good. Happy you guys are both back on. We've got the full crew here, so that is awesome. Looking forward to talking about this book, Canary number one. I just want to go over. There's a long synopsis, and then there's like a quick little solicit. I'm going to read the quick little solicit because the long synopsis is too much. But it's 1891. A mine collapses into itself. Find out the dark substance found 666 feet underground in this horror western. Scott Snyder pens this Lovecraftian take on the Wild West with stunning scenery captured by veteran illustrator Dan Panosian. So I love how they elegantly put the names in there, so I don't really have to go over those. But Scott Snyder, obviously, huge, gigantic creator, big on Batman, all that stuff, done lots and lots of stuff. Dan Panosian, I don't know about you guys, but he's been around for a while, obviously, but not somebody I was really keeping up with until pretty recently. We did Alice Never After on the main feed a couple of months back. And he was writing and illustrating that. And we were just floored with the artwork. We're like, it's so insane. It's so good. So I've been trying to follow him pretty closely now, but super, super awesome illustrator. What'd you guys think about that? Do you think this is a good pairing here? Obviously we'll get into all that at the end and everything too, but these two working together.
Yeah, definitely. Fit perfectly to me. Sorry, I didn't know if Benny was gonna
you're
gonna do that whole clockwork thing.
I know. Maybe I'll call out names, but
you need to be the teacher again.
I know.
I'll just raise my hand in the podcast. People who don't have the video for this are going to be confused. Go ahead. Yeah. This is I thought it was perfect pairing. I had no problems with it whatsoever. Seemed very natural. Mm-hmm. I love the Wild West storyline with the Wild West art. His line art is perfect for the story that Scott Snyder's crafting.
Yeah, I was gonna say his line work in particular stands out the most for it because even his backgrounds you can just scan over and see how it all pieces together in a very interesting way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's really cool. Like it works really well together here and everything. But let's go into the book. This is like densely as hell packed. Like you read it digitally, Nick. Right?
Yep,
Okay.
got it.
So Benny, did you have like the physical copy of this, or are you reading it digital? Or?
I had to go digital. I wasn't able to track it down in person.
Okay, gotcha. So I don't know about you guys, because again, I know there's a Comixology version, and then the version that is put out by Dark Horse in print. So I'm not sure who technically published the book for the way you guys read it, but at least in this Dark Horse edition that I have here, you know, the floppy book, it's like 56 pages. It's huge. So are you guys getting that full? Okay, yeah, really long. Okay.
No, not me.
No?
I have 29 pages, and
Really?
it's a normal comic book with I don't have any ads in it.
Yeah, no ads in this either. Yeah,
because it's a Comixology original. But you just said it was really densely packed, and I didn't think so. So I'm missing some stuff. You guys are gonna have to fill me in.
It's got to be because of the way it was put out. Like I think on Comixology they were doing 6 issues, I believe, for the entire series, and then Dark Horse is packing it. 6, and then Dark Horse is packing it all into 3. So they're double-sized issues.
Oh, I'm missing another issue.
Yeah. So me and Benny got 1 and 2, and basically out of the digitals, and you got 1.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna have to, when we get to it, we're gonna have to go to where you guys left off.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This will be interesting. But this is an interesting story. It's like I said, it's, for me, it was like packed, and it does that Snyder thing. And this is not a dig at all, but Scott Snyder really packs a lot of like dialogue, a lot of words onto the page. Like there's a lot there. He lets the story breathe as well, so it's not like it's overdone. But you know, for me, sometimes I see stuff like that. Right when I open the book, and I'm like, oh, all right, this is gonna be like I got to read a lot here. I have to do a lot of reading. Not what I want to do when I'm reading, obviously, but yeah, a lot of reading. But it's okay because you know you get into the story. It's really, really interesting. It's compelling, and I was fine with that. How about you, Benny? Like, whenever, is this something like you opened up and you felt like there was too much dialogue or anything in? Was it like a good amount for you?
Oh, I am super into the kind of Chris Claremont era of X-Men, so I am very much into the very wordy pages. So this was a delight, and I think it will stand up to reread to go back over the pieces of dialogue.
Yeah, definitely. I love that you say that, the Chris Claremont, like that is like, this is maybe if Chris Claremont was writing this, maybe more than like half the page would be covered in word balloons instead of just like a tenth of the page. Chris Claremont, definitely super, super wordy. So that's cool. Nick, what about you? I feel like, you know, this hit with you, so I don't think that it was a problem, but
no, I don't think that there was enough dialogue, or maybe just the right amount, because unless the second issue has more dialogue than the first, because there wasn't that much to me. There was more action packed into this than dialogue, I felt like, because it opens up, talk about the beginning where I hope this is how it opens up for you guys. It has to. But the woman who has her throat slit in the church or the school or whatever.
Yeah, the school, I think. Yep.
And then that happens, and then like 4 pages after that, he goes to the farm and he calls out the apples, and he's like, "I need your son," and then he just starts blasting. And I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah!" He's like, this main character is just a badass for sure. He's like that old Western style, like, I'm gonna shoot first, ask questions later. You know.
It seems like it's very quiet but busy moments. Like even at the beginning when he's reaching down to pick up an egg, it then launches into a big exchange between the main character and whoever hired him. And then, like you said, he goes to the apple farm and it springs out into a gunfight where there's not too much dialogue.
Right. Yeah. And I honestly said that I don't think there's enough dialogue because I've been begrudgingly reading Alan Moore's From Hell, and that thing is just packed with, dude, it's so hard to read. I was like, dude, there's like issues in there where it's just telling me about the origins of like like London, and I'm like, oh my god, like why Alan Moore? Like I don't care.
I'm just trying to get through this comic. I don't need a history lesson.
Yeah, and like there's one entire part where he just talks about like the origins of London, and then like he creates like some pentagram at the end of all the places that they were making, and I was like, okay, I guess I get it, but you could have done that in 5 pages. You didn't need to do that in like 29 pages. You know what I mean? But that's why I said this isn't that packed full of dialogue for me. It was a perfect mix between, like Betty said, where the gunfights, the dialogue, the I think the only part that might have been full of dialogue for me a little bit too much is when he's talking to his boss, when he has the payphone and he's calling his boss, and like that was a lot of dialogue. But other than that, wasn't too bad for me. Yeah.
So that's kind of I think okay, yeah. It looks like that's kind of the end of the story for you, I guess. In that edition, like, is this where it ends? Like on this splash?
Yes,
like,
right there.
okay.
Yep, with the the eagle or the falcon or the hawk or whatever coming down.
Which is a really cool panel or page. Really great art on that page there. But yeah, for me and Vinny, this is chapter 2, and then it's got like a whole lot more. But I think maybe what we'll focus on then is just that first chapter, and then we can kind of recap what happens in the second, like towards the end. But yeah, I would say most of the bulk of the dialogue is kind of coming in that second half, in my opinion. There's a lot more there, and like it kind of expands, obviously, as you would want a second issue to do like a little bit more and everything. But yeah, this one kind of, I guess if I look at it like that, it's pretty straightforward. We have it, begin with this evil, the kid and everything, the kid that killed the teacher, and then he goes to visit the kid, and then we flash forward like a little bit in time, and we have the now I'm trying to remember this character's name, the guy who was at like the lake, who was eating the fish and everything. The Gollum dude or something, but yeah.
Hiram Tell. Sorry,
that's it. Hiram. Yes, that's why I couldn't remember the name. It's one of those names.
Really creepy. That part was really creepy for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what's this guy's deal?
Dude, I got Gollum vibes. Like, I don't know if you guys did.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Yeah,
like a bald, pale humanoid gulping down raw fish.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got that. He just kind of takes that fish out. I love the part where he's explaining to him that he's got some children, and he's hoping that they have like abilities like he does. And then he's showing them all the teeth, like all the way down his throat and everything. So creepy and weird. Such a weird thing there, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Goes from that to that, and then and then we pretty much wrap up that story before we get into the next chapter. So yeah, a lot less to talk about just in that first chapter, but what it introduces, I think, is obviously what's important here. It introduces that there something happened in these mines. Again, they expand on it later in that second half. So if I bring anything in, Nick, that you're like, what the hell are y'all talking about? This is why it happens in that second chapter. But yeah, they talk a lot about the mines and what happened down there, and how they're trying to like forget it and move on and everything. And basically, they can't forget it and move on because stuff is happening, really bad stuff. And it's bringing in this supernatural element to it and everything. But yeah, I like how this first issue like introduces that without saying much about it, and we're setting all of this up for this. And at the same time, it's like it's happening at the very end of this like era, this wild west era. So I think that makes it really, really cool. I like it whenever you get into those pockets. There was somebody that I talked to a while back that was putting out a comic book through Comics Experience Publishing. And he was doing like a Wild West thing, but it was like also on the tail end of that era. And I really love that. I like whenever you look into like something that's so, ingrained in people's minds and everything, and everybody knows about it, but you never really talk about like why it collapsed or why it stopped and why we moved on to other things because of the technology involved and all of that. So I really like how this is on the tail end of that. What did you guys think about like it being in this time period and everything?
I am a sucker for the Old West. I grew up with cowboy movies, and they can, looking back, a lot of them can be pretty tough to sit through, but this one is very tame so far, and there is a lot of bloodshed, which is pretty on par.
Yeah, the violence levels up there for me. You know, I'm a Garth
Yeah.
Ennis fan, so
Yeah.
I'm always down when there's a bunch of people dying, and like that part. It just I just love how much of a badass they make this guy out to be, which is like a total cowboy thing. It's like they have the legends and the stories that the people are like, oh yeah, that's him. Like they're looking in their old stories. They're like, that's the guy. And then like
Yep.
they're like looking for autographs from this guy because he's like a legend. And then like you realize why he's a legend because he goes to the farm with the apples, which the kid's name is Johnny Apple, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing this has to do like Scott Snyder's just like, oh, let's call him Johnny Appleseed or something.
It's got to be, right? Like there's
Right?
no
It has
other
to
reason
be.
to introduce that. Yeah,
That's
what
really I thought that was
thinking
really
too.
like too
Yeah.
much of a coincidence for me for
Yeah.
it to be Johnny Apple. But when he comes in and he's like, we're about to take our horses out or whatever, blah blah blah, and he's like, what horses? And he's like, bam bam bam. He shoots all the horses dead. Like this guy's a
I felt so
badass.
bad
Like,
picking that scene.
and that's
Yeah.
like this guy does not care. He's all about just like justice. You know what I mean? Like he's just too much into justice, probably. Got that kind of which, and then it progresses into him with the kid, and the kid doesn't care. Like and this guy's like, wow, this kid's actually more of a badass than me, or something's wrong with this kid because he just shot his mom in the head.
Yep.
Like that was crazy. And I don't know what was up with the Gila monster egg. It's like a lizard egg, and why the kid liked it so much. I don't know if they expanded on that in the second issue. Did they do anything with that?
I don't think they did any callbacks to that. Did they, Benny? Like, not that I recall. I don't recall anything else about eggs at all in the second issue.
No, I don't think so, but I do find it pretty funny that the first thing we see our main character badass do is eat one of these eggs that's covered in blood at the first crime scene.
Oh yeah. Again, just proving that he's such a badass.
Yeah.
Like total disrespect for like other people's laws, even because he's talking to the sheriff of the town, and he's like, "Did you take that from the crime scene?" And he just eats it. He's just like, "What's wrong with this guy?" Like he just does not care.
Yeah, he's definitely an interesting character. I like him a lot, and I think that as far as like westerns and stuff like that, I don't know about you, Benny. You said you kind of grew up on westerns and you've seen quite a few. And Nick, I'm not sure how familiar you are with westerns. I haven't watched a lot. I've watched a few like Tombstone and Unforgiven. I think that's probably about it. If I
most I get to is Wild Wild West with Will Smith and Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson.
Are we talking the giant steampunk spider and all of that? Oh Jesus, yeah.
I didn't watch any westerns growing up. I was all about Jackie Chan and Will Smith. I was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and like a Police Story 2 kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm all into that action type of stuff, like bombastic action. Yeah.
That's great. I'd say we do, one day we get together, we do a bonus episode and we just sit here and we just watch Wild Wild West and we just film our facial reactions the whole time and we upload that.
Yep. Loveless. Let's go.
Awesome. Yeah, really, really cool. But yeah, I love this character. Again, I'm sounding like such a shitty host here, but I can't remember his name. But
I can't find his name either.
Marshall Holt.
Okay. Yes.
His name's William Holt, I think.
Yeah.
William Holt.
Yeah.
But he's a marshal. He's a marshal, so I just call him Marshall Holt.
Okay. Yeah. Marshall Holt. And yeah, he's such a badass. He's such a Clint Eastwood, I don't know, Benny, give me like a great Western actor name besides Clint Eastwood. John Wayne. That's the one I was going for. Sorry, I could not think of John Wayne's name. Yeah, but he's got like that vibe to him. Like this is already the second that I got like 3 pages into this book, I was like, this is a movie. This is absolutely a movie, but it's Scott Snyder, so it does the thing where like this 100% could be a movie, but it reads so well as a comic. It's not like here's my script, that I'm trying to get made or anything. Like it works on its own as a comic, absolutely. But if this was a movie, I'd be there opening day. Like it's so good, and I'd love to see something like this on screen.
Yeah, could either Benny or you talk about what that black page that says first form, what that means? Does it do anything like that in the second issue? Because we have that big black page that shows a passage of time where he's going to the and I just want to say like kudos to Dan Panosian on the art, because you can see the passage of time between panels just by the background, and the background goes from yellow to orange to red, and I thought that was beautiful. that he just has like it's the sun setting and it's dusk now after that black page.
Yeah.
And it also the blood red just reminds you that like it's like the sign of danger or the sign of trouble or something like that. So that was beautiful as well. I love that. But what does the first form page mean?
Benny, do you have any clue? Because it does do it again. So basically we get chapter 2. It just says chapter 2, and then we have like one page of panels. There's 6 panels there, and then we get another black page that says second form, and then the book starts again after that. So what you're missing on that first page of chapter 2 is the end of Hayam. Hayam and Hiram. Okay, Hiram and the Marshals encounter there. So that's what you're getting in those 6 panels, and then it says second form after that. And I won't spoil what happens in that for you, since I'm sure you want to continue on and read the rest. But yeah,
I'm not sure if it's anything besides just how they decide to divvy up chunks of the story, or if they're going to explain it in the future on how somehow he changes between forms.
Yeah. It might be something like that. I could definitely see that. Now, here's something I want to ask both of you guys, because again, you haven't read that far, Nick, so I don't see any need to discuss the second half of the book. But just know, everybody listening out there, like if you have the print copy, or if you read it like Benny did digitally, which I assume you ended up reading the Dark Horse edition of it, you're going to get both the first and second book there. And then if you read it the way that Nick read it as a Comixology original digitally, then you're going to get the just the first chapter. So what I really like let me not say like what I really find interesting here is, again, the solicit. And I don't know if you guys read solicits like before you read a book. I typically don't. I only do it to discuss the book or whatever on the podcast. But every now and again I'll read a solicit just to get some more information or whatever. But this is one that it explains too much of the story, because it's going into a dark substance being found 666 feet underground, and all of this. We're not getting any of that. Obviously, it's gonna take that form a little bit later. After the second issue here. Whenever I read that long solicit that I said that I did not want to read at the beginning of the podcast, it was talking a lot about
don't ruin it for me, Dan. Don't do it.
Okay.
You already ruined it for me with the black substance. You just ruined it.
Sorry. Okay, I'll be quiet. But it does go. It goes into some other things that you don't see here in the first or second issue. So it's so spoilery, and I don't know why they do that. I get that they're trying to sell the whole series, and maybe that's what it's for. But it's leave a little bit to the imagination. So yeah, I won't read that. But
it's like those movie trailers that are just wow, you just spoiled the entire movie for me with your 2-minute trailer.
Yes.
Why are you doing that? Just give me glimpses of things that kind of give me an idea, but don't tell me what's happening. You know what I mean?
I'll usually only ever read it if I am pretty familiar with the character that they're going over. So something like this, I avoided it because I just wanted to come in spoiler free.
Yeah. That's a good way to be on this book. Yeah.
Can I just say, to the people who write these solicits, you could take a chunk out of this and put it on YouTube on one of those shorts or whatever like that. Don't do that. Don't spoil the book for us when you're doing solicits. That's why I don't read those solicits. And if you're gonna do it, pose it as a question. Don't pose it as this is what is found underground. Say what's causing this mysterious form to take the children of this place and make them into evil monsters or whatever. That is so much better than telling me there's a black substance that causes people to do weird things. It's well, we didn't get to that at all. You guys didn't get to it in the second issue, right? So
no, none of it.
That's 2 issues that you've read that hasn't spoiled it yet, which is that's 1/3 of the way through the book. That's wow, we could have just been going into this I don't know, an M. Night Shyamalan film with the twist that happens. It would have been great, but they spoiled it for us.
I think a good one has you asking more questions about what's going to happen instead of trying to intrigue you with what will happen.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. You're completely right there. You'd like to hear something more of like they do. Scott Snyder pins this Lovecraftian take on the Wild Wild West and blah blah blah, and there's some horror elements, and yeah, I mean, say that, like, we don't really need much more. I guess if you need to set the scene, you know, put the year, whatever. But yeah, there's, I don't see any reason. How about the? I don't know if, look, we got branding a little while back. What was that? 2018, 2019, whenever Something is Killing the Children first came out. I think 2019 is what I'm going to say. And we got the Erica Slaughter, the branded like mask, the face mask, bandana type of thing. So this dude has his own face mask here, this own like bandana, which is awesome. Like I wondered, I'm not going to lie. Like when I first saw it and I saw that it kept coming back around, I was like, all right, are they doing this? Are they trying to like release this into comic book shops? So, you know, if it blows up or whatever, they can have some merchandising or whatever. I don't know. I pick one up. I think it looks cool.
You got to have some branding. You know what I mean? You got to have something that hooks the average reader. The Erica Slaughter mask is like, that's, to me, it's already iconic. I love that thing. Like when I first picked up Something's Killing the Children, I had already heard really good things about it, and I read the deluxe edition, and I was like, damn, I read it in one sitting. Like, I read the entire, like, I don't know, it was like 10, 12 issues or something like that in like a couple hours, and I was like, this book is sick. Like, this is like such a good story. And that's an example of a book that does not have a lot of dialogue. There's completely like, there's like 6 pages sometimes where there's nothing going on but fights with monsters. So that's a complete opposite. But I do like I don't mind the branding aspect, and I think his mask looks pretty cool. It's like an upside down tombstone kind of thing with an upside down cross or whatever. Yeah, I like that.
I think it makes sense in universe for him as well, because he has those dime novels with him in it, and he doesn't seem to live up the most to his reputation from the books. He even said so at one point, but having that bit of iconography around him would certainly help him get recognized around.
Yeah, it definitely like complements what's going on here in the book. Like, it definitely works well. You know, if he's in a crowd or whatever, and he needs to throw that on really quick, like instantly recognizable, which it seems like he is anyways. But yeah, I mean, just to get down to it, you know, I would say this, you know, for me, this worked really, really well. This was a really cool book. There's a lot of mystery in this. We know there's a lot more craziness to come. I know there's a lot of crazy shit coming up that I'll just be completely quiet about. But yeah, I mean, you can see the threads, you know, being laid out here and everything. There's a lot to this. There's a lot going on, and I mean, I just think it's perfect to throw horror and Western together. Like it's something that, I don't know, every time I see anything like that, I'm like, why isn't this done more? Like this really is so ripe for having, you know, like a great adaptation or whatever. So again, you being a little bit more familiar with Westerns, are there any other like horror Westerns or anything you can think of, Benny? Like, have there been any movies that you've seen that are horror Westerns or anything?
This is a bad example, but the Aliens versus Cowboy with the lead from the James Bond movies, that it had a lot of scary elements in it, but I do agree horror would be a great fit for the Western genre, because there are so many quiet, long nights out there.
Yeah.
There's something very scary about the Midwest and stuff like that too. So like there's just something scary about just open fields and nowhere to hide. Yeah. That's pretty, like, that's scary. And also the opposite is scary, where you're in the ocean and you can't see or know anything that's underneath you. That's like the two scariest things to me, is like wide open fields. Like I live in a desert, and sometimes when I have to drive places and it's just straight desert and it's dark and there's no lights, that's scary, because all you have is the stars and the moon to like light the way. That's pretty scary.
I'm with you. I get the same way. Like every now and again, like I'll freak myself out if I have to drive like, you know, too long on like a empty highway or something like that, or like a country road or something. And like, some people love that. Some people think it's like the most American, like freeing thing, you know, in the whole world and all of that. I'm like, if something happens, there's no one around, you know. I always get those vibes of like, man, if somebody, and this is terrible, you know, I should shut up, but like I get those vibes where I'm like, if somebody just wanted to like, you know, jack a police car and like throw on a uniform or something and then pull me over, like, you know, it's so scary. But yeah, I'm so far from me, freaks me out.
Or were you saying,
Yeah.
Betty?
Just being so far removed from everyone else where nobody can really help you if something goes wrong. It can be so terrifying.
Yeah, that's a
But
whole level of
our main
anxiety
character,
that
yeah, our main character doesn't seem to need much help in a lot of his business.
yeah, no, he's definitely he's good. He's got this. Yeah. I think, in my final thoughts, and like I kind of want to go around, like I want to try something different this time. So I want to go around to both of you and get like your thoughts on, whatever you have to say, like as we wrap it up or whatever. But as far as me, like my final thoughts on this are, this is absolutely outstanding. This is done really, really well. I really like the mashup of the Western and horror genres put together here. I like the, all of the undertones and other elements that we have going on. I love like the creepy, like townspeople, that kid, freaks me out a lot. Like there's just a lot here, and it's done really, really well. Of course, I would expect nothing less from Scott Snyder and Dan Panosian together, because that's like an all-star team there. But I will 110% be reading issue number 3 since I read 2, but in print, issue number 2, and I'm really excited about that. So whoever wants to go next, please feel free.
Yeah, the thing that stuck out the most to me here is the artwork. If a character isn't blending into the background on panel, they are in stark contrast with it and pop right off the page.
There's the dogs that you were talking about before the podcast started. Oh, he muted himself.
Yeah, I'm muted, so you guys wouldn't have to hear that.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. I agree. Well, I agree with Benny. I agree with you, Dan. This is absolute. They've knocked it out of the park for me. Art was amazing. Writing is very Scott Snyder. It's always like a pleasure to read something that like someone who just knows what they're doing, knows how to keep you guessing, knows how to keep you going on to the next issue and wanting to keep reading. He has these grand ideas of just like, I want to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it, and I want Dan Panosian to do it. So, and then he just does it. And there's something like super confident about Scott Snyder's writing and the way he does things, and I really like that. So I like the themes that he has with eggs too. I don't know if there's more eggs in the second issue or the later half of the first issue with you guys, but I figured there would be with burying an egg underground with the little kid. But he's got some themes going. He's got the creepiness. The artwork is just blended perfectly with the story. The thing that stuck out the most to me, which I said in the beginning, which me and Benny said that we liked the most, was the line work. I think the line work and also the squiggliness of like the backgrounds to show that it's just a bunch of rocks. That's done really confidently too. Like he was just like, ba, 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 ba. I got the background done. And it just looks like it's so effortless for Dan Panosian to do. But it was a great book. I'll be reading the second issue or the third issue or the whatever it is with Comixology. I'll be reading all 6 issues, and I could pick them up right now because they're already on Comixology. So I'll probably be doing that this week.
Oh, that's right. The whole thing exists like in its entirety and on Comixology. So really cool. Yeah, and I mean I've never encountered that where I guess something's a Comixology original and then it's in print by somebody else, and then they release them. They're both released, on wherever you're reading your digital comics, together or at the they're both released, and then you have one that's like collected and one that's not. I remember Barnstormers. Yeah. I don't know if you guys read that, but that was like also a Comixology original that later went to print. So I don't know if that was done the same way or not, but yeah, just for all the listeners out there, depending on how you get it, you might get 1 and 2. You might just get 1, but yeah, look out for that. I guess look out for that fancy Dark Horse Comics logo, and then you'll get both issues there. Should be what a $4.99 cover price. Wow, really good price for 56 pages. That's nuts. Really cool. But yeah, that's our thoughts on it. Benny, Nick, me, we all love the book, and we'll be continuing on to whatever issues come about next, but follow the series throughout. And I don't know. That's all I've got to say about it, unless you guys have anything else you want to say.
If you like Cowboys, definitely keep an eye out for this one.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure you, I don't know, maybe go make your own branded bandana to go with the canary here, because I don't know, you probably look pretty cool next Halloween. But
yeah,
Thank you guys so much for podcasting with me today. I really appreciate it. Vinny, Nick, hope you guys both have an awesome rest of your day and an awesome weekend. And of course, thank all of you guys for tuning in and checking us out today. If you want a copy of Canary issue number 1 or issue number 1/2 here in print, all you have to do is use the hashtag AllNewAllDifferentNation to be entered in a giveaway. Use that hashtag on the social media of your choice, and you'll be entered to win a free copy of this book. And again, can't thank you guys enough. Nick, Benny, hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much. I was like, sorry.
Oh,
I don't know how to talk. But yeah.
This is the Dan woes. The woes of Dan. I just can't say people's last names. I'm interested to hear how you say this guy's last name.
I know how to say this guy's last name. I'm very
you
familiar with Dan Panosian, so I'm okay with him. But
all right, there we go.
And Scott Snyder, I can say that as well. But
yeah, if you messed that up, I'd be like, wow, Scott Snyder.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. How do you pronounce the Y? Yeah. Anyways, cool. Well, I'll get us started. Oh, I did want to tell you guys really quick. They're going to be delivering a washing machine, so hopefully we get done before that happens. But if it does, my dogs will probably make like a whole shitload of noise. So we'll just try to fast forward if that happens. It happens on all the time. But
yeah, okay. No worries.
You got it.
Yeah, if you hear a bunch of dogs, that's fine. Cool. Anyway.